Hi there, I'm Rachel Gable. I'm the assistant editor of the Fence Post magazine, and this is your Fair Cattle Markets update for the 11th of August. The Senate today passed the infrastructure bill that we talked about yesterday. A number of farm groups praised the passage, and it will head now to the House. It's such a huge bill, but it passed on a 69-30 vote. It covers physical infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and broadband. And now that it goes to the House, Democratic leaders have pledged to take it up only in conjunction with the second human infrastructure bill that is expected to go through the Senate under reconciliation procedures and be passed only by Democratic senators and Vice President Harris. Farm and other groups praised the passage. Some of those include the National Corn Growers Association. President John Linder said, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime investment in America's infrastructure, and we're extremely pleased that it includes funding for priorities that are important to farmers in rural America. The legislation will benefit agriculture for years to come, and it is encouraging for corn farmers to see senators working together on a bipartisan basis." Linder noted that this is all according to the Hagstrom report. I didn't mention that. Linder also noted that the bill includes $17.3 billion for the nation's ports and inland waterways. He said with 60% of corn exports utilizing these waterways, NCGA and coalition partners have a track record of advocating for these key resources. He also noted the bill includes $65 billion for broadband internet access, including $2 billion specifically for rural broadband, which will provide more farmers and ranchers and residents of rural areas with high-speed internet access. An estimated 29% of farmers do not have access to internet service, an important tool for marketing crops and for planning for the planting season, according to Linder. Farm Credit Council President and CEO Todd Van Hoos said Farm Credit thanks the Senate for its bipartisan efforts to pass the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. This legislation will create jobs and improve the quality of life across the country, including in rural America. Chesapeake Bay Foundation President William Baker noted that the bill would increase the funding for the Environmental Protection Agency's Chesapeake Bay program by $238 million over 5 years. Dave Paglia, President and CEO of Western Growers, which is the fruit and vegetable membership group that encompasses the majority of the Western states, said, "We commend the Senate for taking this historic action. Without access to a safe, reliable, and affordable water supply, the long-term viability of our family farms and rural communities in the West are in jeopardy, along with more than 80% of all U.S. fruit, vegetable, and tree nut production. As the current drought has demonstrated, time is running out, which is why we call on the House to act with urgency and pass the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act without delay." Speaking of fruit and vegetables, of course, if you're in Colorado, you've heard that I-70 is closed there at Glenwood because there were mudslides from the burn scar from last year. And I have some calls in to some of my orchard folks over there. I know it's a 4-hour detour not being able to come through Glenwood Canyon. So I'm curious if that's having a huge effect on getting Palisade peaches and Olathe sweet corn over here. I just don't know. I would think that maybe the 4 hours wouldn't be terrible. I don't know. I shouldn't guess. I don't know. But I have some calls in and I'll visit with them tomorrow as well. National Rural Electric Cooperative Association CEO Jim Matheson said about the bill that this bipartisan proposal is a meaningful first step and carries significant benefits for rural families and businesses, particularly those who lack access to high-speed internet. Talked a little bit about electricity infrastructure and down payment on that infrastructure, and a lot of those just talked about broadband, though the National Council of Farmer Cooperatives said today's strong bipartisan vote in the Senate to pass infrastructure legislation will provide the investment needed to improve our country's roads, bridges, railways, and ports to support the competitiveness of American agriculture. So that now will head to the House. I think it's interesting to hear so much talk about broadband. I'm sure there's lots of areas that don't have access to that. Maybe I live in a rural enough area that I just don't know that it's so slow. Maybe internet is actually very fast. I'm just unaware of it. It's entirely possible. I dove in a little bit to the new cattle market reports. They're tough. There's so much data, and to get the full picture, you'd have to pull lots of different reports, and the reports are hard to get to. So I'm still working on this. I had a couple calls today. I've got another call tomorrow. So we'll have full coverage in the Fence Post, and I assume the Tri-State this week as well, but I'm still working on that. It's a lot to wrap my brain around. At any rate, I appreciate all of the birthday wishes. I had a good day, and we got to go out for Mexican food, so that's always the end of a good day. But I appreciate all of the good wishes. We will have the winners of the books tomorrow. Someone other than me is going to pick those, so we'll do that. So I'll give everybody until Wednesday morning to have a chance to enter that. But at any rate, I'm Rachel Gable, and this is your Fair Cattle Markets update for the 11th of August.